What is going on, everybody? Andrew coming at you with a quick update. I am working in the outdoor area right now. This is going to be the food garden, but I'm going with a kind of a natural setup where I don't cut the grass in there. You see, I got a little path cut here. Getting everything sectioned off. This is going to be one section here. I'm going to be doing another here. And I have to section this off like this so the city doesn't come and tell me I have to cut the grass in there, because to me that grass is a crop that I can use to compost and make soils. And depending on the crop growing out of that soil, you can attribute a direct value to that soil production. So in my case, it's cannabis, because I use all of this lush greenery, and once the flowers bloom is when I harvest. I let the bees feed on the flowers for a few days, and I come in and chop it all and compost it and turn it into some nice soil. And you take 5 pounds of good compost and you can grow a pound of good cannabis, a couple pounds of cannabis if you amend it between cycles out of it. And average market value for a pound of cannabis in this area is anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000. So for every 5 pounds of compost that I can make out of this plant material here, I can potentially make up to $2,000 worth of product out of it. So if the city tries to come in and chop, as long as I can just measure out how much it takes to make a pound of compost, I can start to attribute a dollar value and make a case against them, because they're coming and chopping a crop. And here in Michigan, we have a right to grow our own food, and they can't tell you how to grow a garden. It's just, they can tell you how to manage your yard, though, according to housing code. But anyway, so I'm sectioning all this off. I'm working on getting it lined up. This over here is going to be, this is kind of the guideline for where I'm setting up the enclosure that's going to double as a privacy wall for the backyard here. So they're going to be 5 foot wide. They're going to be these little, basically like 5 foot wide, 7 foot tall, 5 foot long cubes covered in chicken wire. And you can just connect them one next to the other in a chain and just make a door between them. And you can basically have, it should be running about $100 to $150 per cube per enclosure, but making it modular like this makes it to where I can just, one a month, just lay them out. And by the end of the year, pretty much most of the yard will be covered. But this will double as a quail enclosure. You can separate it out and do other animals too, like chickens or rabbits. I'm planning on doing quails and rabbits in them, because they're going to be completely enclosed by the chicken wire. And then the chicken wire that's on the ground, you basically take your compost soil that you make from your yard here, and you cover that, and you create a soil layer within the enclosure. That's where you grow your grasses and your seeds and your whatever it is you want your animals to eat on inside as part of the free range. Well, I guess it's not really free range, but it kind of is. It's a weird gray area. But anyways, so it's going to be running all the way around the back, enclosing the backyard, and probably stopping at the garage, or maybe extending all the way to the house over there. We'll see what happens. So this little area back here is interesting because it's shaded properly enough for mushrooms to grow. And I know that because I've already harvested a couple, but there are pheasant's tails growing back here on this log. There was, I harvested 2 of them to spread spores around to the rest of the area. I put one of them up there in that log. We'll see if any end up growing out of it. But I do want to set up small areas for mushroom cultivation back here to grow some different strains of mushrooms. Pheasant's tail in this case seems to be growing well. And then back here there's another decaying log that's got some really large pheasant's tails. There's a lot of mint back here too, so that's useful. But neighbor side has some really big pheasant's tails coming in. And I had a really large one on this side that I harvested. It came from right here. And I have that drying, so I'm going to make that into a soil amendment and test out how effective it is. There's also another set of turkey tails that grow in that tree in the back, but I haven't cleared this area out yet. This would make another good potential spot for like a mushroom growing area, assuming I don't use it and set up like a storage shed back here. But anyways, that's enough of that. So that's pretty much what I got going on the outside. You know, I'm sure most of you are familiar with what I got going on the inside, but I'm really pushing down this residential scale regenerative agriculture niche because I think it's going to help solve a lot of problems that we're dealing with right now. But so this is the main garden area. You can see I've got a little walk path. I've been just pressing everything down. This is just kind of some clovers, nothing special going on here. I got strawberries here. Every one of these has has a few different vegetables growing in it, or seeded at least. I just put seeds down and used the grass that I chopped up as a cover for them. So that one has strawberries. It's got corn, melons. I believe this one has beans, a melon, a couple other things. I'll have to see when they come up because I didn't put labels down. I'll identify them when they come out of the ground. This is garlic coming out here along with dandelion greens, which is basically salad. It's a very hardy lettuce, native lettuce. That's why I grow it, because it's like a weed. It grows like a weed, but it's just very hardy, easy to grow. So dandelion leaves is a very good substitute for lettuce leaves, especially if you want something that's going to regrow, because once dandelions get to a certain size, they can survive over winter and they'll regrow from the same spot. So just overall, a really great food to be growing. I've got wild riverbed coming out of this tree stump that I'm doubling up as a pot just for kind of some aesthetic appeal. Got some wires set up for it. Got motion sensor lights set up on my little fence stakes here. You can see these are actually pretty dang solid once you get everything tensioned and supported. These little cheap steel stakes make for a pretty decent hobo fence. It's not going to stop anyone from breaking in, but it'll at least let people know not to go through this area, and also tell the city, like, this is a garden, not a yard. And they don't get to decide how much of your yard you use as a garden. This pot's been going for a couple of years now. I do have some flowers, I can't remember what they're called again, coming out here. They grow real tall. These are onions in here. I've got potatoes going. I've got some grasses and stuff just to help to keep the soil alive at all times, whether I'm growing vegetables or not. Well, looks like it's starting to rain a little bit out here, so probably time to be heading inside. I'm going to be doing potatoes in there, but in this section, I'm going to be setting up living soil beds throughout, and in the middle probably be doing a couple dwarf fruit trees, apples, maybe oranges, something small that I can bring onto the porch to overwinter, or into the basement if I have to keep the citrus from freezing. But anyways, we'll see how it ends up going. I will keep you guys posted on the progress with all of this. Mostly, biggest excitement is getting up these enclosures here. That's going to be the thing I focus on the most. It's just going to be getting one set up pretty much every paycheck, so I'll be getting 2 or 3 done per month, I think. So it should be, come winter time, I should at least have enough to fully enclose the backyard and to keep people from just wandering through, because the homeless problem here in Lansing is it's escalating. It's not getting better. Any efforts that the state's putting into trying to put a lid on the issues isn't really working. It seems like they're mostly just sweeping the problem under the rug. But you see I got my little chunk of yard that I do keep kind of tidied up and not let it go full crazy. At least throw the state a little bone. But here's my prickly lettuce that I'm going to let flower out, and I'm going to take the seeds from this and plant it along the fence line of the enclosure fence that I'm building over there to act as a natural defense. But that enclosure is also going to have plants growing up through the chicken wire as support. There'll be an integrated watering system inside of it that runs from the water spigot over there, and it's going to be a pretty productive setup. But we'll see. I'll keep y'all posted on progress. We will check y'all next time. Keep it growing on, fam.